Thank you very much for this introduction. And of course, thank you for the SUMEX organizer to invite us Slovenian partners. So my first slide is actually a picture of how symbiosis or synergy of mining, ex-mining and environment, a new added value of the environment here is presented, because it's a depression, now lake for recreation, for public recreation, which is actually found in the depression, which was caused by sinking the territory due to the underground mining. This is Velenje Lake. It's underground. It's still active lignite mine in Slovenia, and in behind is a thermal power plant which is active and which contribute actually third part of our total national energetic scheme. So that's the picture. I like it. So the short content of my today lecture would be in a few points here. I will talk about mineral inventory, background and scope. Then I will mention also tasks and activities of our public mining service. Then licensing procedure, which is closely related with the reporting, of course. Then I will shortly represent you our mining registry book. And then few words about mineral data accessibility, publishing, disseminating this data, and how we manage the data harmonization and standardization, even in terms of UNFC reserves classification. So mineral inventory is on its basis. It's the very important part of successful mineral management in every country. And the provision of mineral resource data are one of the very important tasks of every national geological survey. Mineral data about reserves in our country are publicly available, but the specific is that only summarized data. It means on the level, for example, of type of mineral, but for particular deposit are still not public. Reserves and resources in our country are reported annually. It means that every mining right holders, or how we can say concessionaire, is obliged to report to the ministry, which is relevant for mining. And I would also like to stress that reserves classification is elsewhere an ongoing process. It's not a finalized work, but ongoing process, and all the data regarding reserves, of course, reserves and resources are permanently upgraded. I have to mention some background referring to Slovenia. So, because I suppose some things are much different referring to most of other European countries. For example, in Slovenia, all the mineral commodities are owned by the state. So, it's referring to our national constitution. It means all types, from aggregates to energetic minerals. All the minerals are in ownership of the state, so government. And ministry, which is relevant for mining and minerals, is taking roles and monitor this, managing these national, mineral commodities by referring to our national legislation, mining legislation, environmental legislation, spatial planning legislation, and all related with minerals, and of course also leading the licensing procedure. But I have to stress, I have to highlight that very strong. Never mind, I do not need mic, so thanks. Very important is the role of National Geological Survey, which support very strongly our ministry responsible for mining. And within our institution, also public mining service has been established. And it's not like that, but it's a long procedure. Now for 20 years at least. We are authorized by our government, and it is noted even in our Mining Act, which is in force. So the role of Geological Survey is very important, referring to mineral management in Slovenia. On the national level, we also have the organization called a National Committee for Monitoring, or better say, reviewing documentation on mineral reserves and resources. And even on the head of this commission are the experts from Geological Survey. So geologists and mining engineers elsewhere, experts elsewhere, are engaged during the process of licensing and reporting. Here are the scheme referring to our public mining service. Lots of activities in terms of mineral management, licensing procedure, implementation of EU directives and recommendations, then publishing annual mineral bulletin. We're supporting this land use planning also. And of course, we support also the preparation of mining legislation. Of course, very important task of us is also to maintain and to organize all the data, all the records and statistics which is referring to the mineral production, mineral exploration, mineral reserves and resources. So, very shortly, how the system of reporting is functioning in our country. So all the data, I could start here. Every concessionaire, every industrial stakeholder who is operating within mine is obliged, it is mandatory to report annually on the reporting forms to the governance, to the ministry, to the relevant ministry. They report volume of extracted mineral commodities, then surface, degraded area, and also reserves and resource which are still remaining in the in situ. The role of Geological Survey here is important because all these data are gathered by Geological Survey, and we conduct and organize, maintain also the public mining registry book, which is open access, you will see. And all these data are necessary for the government that they can oblige the concessionaires to pay not royalty, to pay taxes because every concession, every mining right holder has to pay a tax referring to the volume of the extracted mineral and referring to the surface which is degraded. And these taxes are paid annually. And what is also important or interesting, half of this amount of money collected, these taxes, half of 50% of this money is committed or goes to the community, local community. Half of the money goes to the state, which is the minerals owner. And of course, as I told you, all these data referring to primary mineral resources are gathered, organized, and then disseminated also in public, with the help of geological survey experts, which are all the work is going on. Aligned with Mining Act and other legislation which is in force in a country. But nowadays in Slovenia only most of mining is focused on the surface. So quarries of non-metals and aggregates, only one underground mining of coal. But of course for all the data referring to the mineral deposits of ancient, closed, abandoned mines, metal mines, uranium mine, coal mines, which are now closed, all these data are still collected, gathered, and stored within our archives, and also, of course, in digital format in databases. That's it. So, how the public can access this data. So data are stored at the national level into the centralized database. All these data are specially referenced in aligned to Inspire directive, and all the data. Summarized data, as I mentioned before, reserved summarized data are also publicly accessible for the whole country. How do we disseminate or publish this data? There are two paths, in fact. We have a bulletin mineral resource in a paper printed format and also in digital format on internet, on web page, and we have also web application called Mining Registry Book. Mining Registry Book actually is consisting of all official geological in all the data which are related to the particular mineral deposit in the country. So all the official attributes, documents, all these technical documents are in PDF format and stored within this system. Till the cadastre maps, so we can see cadastre fields to the detail where is a particular concessioner, where is digging the hole, where and what he is doing where. So, and all these data are maintained and published in Slovene language and of course in English language. And there is no charge for this data. Here's the screenshot of this mining registry book. The overview of our country and all, I think about 200 different mineral deposits. And here we can see the detail, I mean the screenshot when you search a particular deposit, you can see the cadastral map in detail and who is working what and extracting which kind of raw material and in what volume. It's not so important for you, perhaps. Here is also our annual bulletin. Some of them I succeed to brought him by plane, no problem, and disseminate by you colleagues. So that's it. Here's the map, very simplified with the spread of our mineral deposits. And here's the table of all these, of all materials, I mean mineral commodities, which are exploited, which are now being exploited in the country, and the data which are actually from, I don't know, 2000, from the year or even before to nowadays. So the total production, for example, these statistic tables refers to annual production. And who are the data users? Of course, all the ministries which are dealing with minerals, so mining, spatial planning, environmental ministry, then all industrial stakeholders, local communities where these quarries and open pits are situated, then general broad public, media, also education institutions, and of course those engineers who are preparing technical documentation for different mines. Now, with this slide, I wanted to stress that the work of and results of our work is not like this over the night production, but it's the result of the long-term process. We prepared all these data also in SPIRE compliant, as I mentioned, and our reserves data are also prepared within the format of, within the classification system of UNFC. And we have been, thanks to being part of ancient or already finished projects like Minerals for You, GeoEra Mintel for You, and even two very important projects of us led by Geological Survey of Slovenia within the program of EIT raw material called Mine Service and Reserve, which were committed to the West Balkan region. Here's the screenshot from EGDI portal. I'm sure you are familiar with the EGDI. It's European Geological Data Information portal, where all the European countries are contributing their data. And I have to say that the whole harvesting system, IT harvesting system, is organized within Geological Survey of Slovenia. So we gathered all the data from, 25 different European countries. Then, IT, what they're doing, but the last result is that we disseminate this data into the to flow this data into the EGDI centralized system for the whole Europe. And here we are at the data reserves and resources, how we harmonize this data and standardize that they are actually used also to be compared with other countries and to be reported for European and even global statistic. For example, United States Geological Survey every year contact us for the reserves, resources, production data, and we, of course, all these data should be organized and inspire aligned, and also they are transformed to UNFC codes. Why? Because in Slovenia we use, in official use, there is a national classification, mineral classification system, which is close to or similar to Russian one. That's in the official use. But of course, geological survey expert already prepared, so let's call it bridging documents. In Europe they say bridging documents. These bridging documents provides that the national classification codes could be translated into UNFC and then disseminated to the global statistics. Within this work, it's very important that Geological Survey of Slovenia, our experts are engaged or working within INSPIRE expert group, within EGDI expert group team, and also we are now engaged. Harry will tell us in details about this networking of practitioners, which is organized by UNFC in Geneva. It's it's a very important organization which is trying to learn us how to translate, how to put all the mineral reserves data on the same in the same code system. So here is a small session or from the brochure of UNFC. Perhaps not the last one, but never mind. The system, I mean the whole structure, UNFC structure is raising, is getting improved, it's being updated all the time. Bridging documents I have already mentioned. I have mentioned also that national classification is now all the data can be, so there is this bridging document that provides us to translate, to transform data, mineral data, into this 3D system, classifying system. EFG, you know, E economic, F feasibility, and G geology axis. Of course, we applying this UNFC for several years to be able for reporting into the pan-European pan-European mineral inventory and mineral yearbook, which is now organized within GeoEra, as you know. Here is the example or table of the example of a bridging document for this very simplified how our characterization or our classification codes could be translated in this UNFC coding system. I won't tell you details because probably you use different, perhaps JORC or whatever mineral classification. Every country use different classification, but the important thing is that we go towards the common global classification UNFC system. That's the same thing, but in this construction or table of terms. These terms are actually from UNFC codes, so that this vocabulary, actually. That's it. So it's my country. I'm in very simplified geological map. Some Alps, some Adriatic part with Flysch part, and also on the east part of Pannonian Basin. So very heterogeneous geology and few mineral deposits, let's say, of public importance, which have to be preserved. The access to these mineral deposits should be preserved, as our nature is preserved within Natura 2000. So I think that also mineral commodities are part of our national value, and they have to be evaluated like this and treated like this. So, never mind. Thanks a lot so far. Gracias, muito gracias to